Arsenal today put on a defensive masterclass. Now, a lot of Gooners are not going to like today's performance. A lot of Arsenal fans that don't like Mikel Arteta will say, we were so bad in the attack. We were awful in our approach play. We created nothing for Gyökeres. Gyökeres had a bad debut. Where was Saka? He was absolutely an empty vessel today. And some of that is going to be because as football fans, we're all very insular. We look at our problems. We look at how we perceive it. I always give this example and I'll give it again. And Man United fans probably did this today. On some of our opportunities that we had that Raya saved, Arsenal fans go, what a save! Man United fans go, gotta score that! Because we look at it from our point of view and our perspective. And I understand it. And I understand it probably more than most people, the amount of phone-ins I do, the amount of panels we have on the Football Terrace. But Arsenal today, the reason they couldn't attack is because Man United actually stopped them very well. And sometimes in life, you just can't play the way you want to play. I saw that my whole childhood growing up playing Arsenal, funnily enough. We beat them quite a lot. And isn't it crazy that in the entirety of the Premier League, the only time Arsenal ever beat us at Old Trafford is 1-0. And it happened again. It's a freaky scoreline. But Arsenal were just nullified by Man United today. We stopped the attacks. We defended well. We looked fitter and we pressed good. And we stopped Arsenal. In the first half, yes, they were 1-0 up, so they didn't attack as much in the second half, and I understand why. They saw the game out, they were professional. If Liverpool or City had done this, Arteta outers would say, look at that, champions win. That's why they win the league, because they could see out a game where they weren't on top, where they weren't the best side. Again, we're very insular as people. We don't always look out the same way that we look in. And Arsenal recognised something, that when they were attacking, there was always a chance they could score because there are holes in Man United's team. There's holes physically and there's holes in that midfield. No one is going to sit here and deny that. But what Arsenal realised is when those balls were being pushed out by Bruno, by Casemiro, by our defenders to Cunha's, actually Mason Mount had a pretty good game as well, and to the Mbumos, it was splitting the defenders of Arsenal because of the way we were dragging them out. And of course, Arsenal have got two of the best individual defenders, centre-backs in the world in their team. As a partnership, you're hard-pressed to find a better partnership. And even when they're struggling, they're still better than everybody else. And United just couldn't break the door down. But Arsenal had to adjust. And they, as I said, they put on this defensive masterclass because they just were able to, in the second half, absorb, stop us. And even at times where there was a great touch from Cunha where he kind of controls it with a back heel, spins. I don't remember who he spun, to be honest with you. Could have anyone in their midfield. I don't remember. I think it might have been Zubamendi, who, by the way, is amazing. And he turned him and he drove and he played the ball out and Mbeumo comes in. And I do think Ahmad kind of got in his way a little bit. But what the Arsenal defenders didn't do at any point today was panic. They kept calm. They remained resolute. They understand the zones they're meant to be in. They understand who they're meant to mark at corners. They didn't crack. And even when we took him on, Ahmad twice, 3 times maybe, took on Madueke. You go back and watch it now. You've got no nerves. You'll just see the defensive line stay goal side every single time of a Man United player. When I grew up playing football, our coaches would say to us in defensive moments, you never want to see the attacker's number. We didn't have names on the back of the shirts at Sunday League level. You don't want to see the number on the back of their shirt. And Arsenal did that impeccably well today. Impeccably well. They just didn't allow us to get goal side. So every time those balls went in, they were able to just about get there. And you can probably, the epitome of that was when De Ligt, of all players, comes up, becomes the extra man, breaks the lines, drives the ball back across the 6-yard box. Cunha is coming in. And as he's going to try and turn and control it and swivel and shoot, there was Saliba. Because Saliba was the right side of him, he was able to go to ground, because he had to go to ground at that point, make himself big, and just stop Cunha from being able to do what he wanted. If Cunha had been goal side, the right side of him and ahead of him, it would have ended up being a penalty because he wouldn't have been able to have got himself around the ball in the way that he did. David Raya, look, I remember when, we do match reactions to every single Arsenal game, every United, all the top 6 games on the Football Terrace. And I remember Arsenal fans doing their nut when David Raya was signed. They couldn't understand it. They thought it was bad management for Mikel Arteta. And today, the save from Mbeumo said it was good, as an example. The save from Cunha's shot was out of this world because it would have been one of the goals of the weekend. But it was his calm presence. Again, There was a corner we delivered in, 2 or 3 that were brilliant. What's he doing? He's pushing defenders out the way and punching it. Bayandér's going, ooh. A lot of people were saying it was a foul on Bayandér. Not having it. Goalkeepers have a license in football. Theoretically, as long as they touch the ball, they could knee you in the head and fracture your skull and they wouldn't get in trouble. I'm not advocating for that behaviour. Don't twist my words. But if Bayandér shoulder barges someone, pushes someone, and crushes through 5 players and punches the ball out, the referee will never give a foul in the other direction. If you miss the ball and hit a player, potentially. But even then, I saw Sanchez today for Chelsea hit someone in the back of the head, didn't get penalised. Chelsea goalkeepers have a license to be violent when it comes to those things. And what you saw from Raya today was the complete opposite, the antithesis in many ways of what you get from Bayandér and Onana at times. And it isn't like Bayandér and Onana are little geezers. They're very big men. They're very big. Onana's a muscly geezer as well, and they are just weak. That's because their character is weak in those circumstances. And every one of you's got a friend like this. We've all got a mate who's 6'5", but he's the biggest, softest, cuddly teddy bear. He'd never fight, even though he looks like a monster. That's our goalkeepers. And Raya was the opposite today. That defensive unit of Arsenal's won them 3 big points today. The season isn't won and lost today for Man United or for Arsenal. Arsenal couldn't have won the league. They couldn't have lost the league. But the one thing that I've witnessed this weekend is, yes, City won 4-0, but they really should have conceded some goals. Liverpool all pre-season and on Friday night looked very susceptible when teams counter against them. Arsenal were the only ones who adjusted, saw a game out. Yes, there was some last-ditch tackling, but there's nothing wrong with that. If we're going to, again, as football fans, I'm going to ban people from this platform. I don't care about being called out as an echo chamber. Anyone who starts going, oh, last-ditch defending means you're desperate, and I'm not for that. You're just changing the narrative for football because it was brilliant to watch. Not for me as a United fan, but it was a brilliant defensive display, and that should be celebrated. Could the attack for Arsenal be better? Absolutely. There's a lot of improvements that are needed by Arsenal Football Club. I thought that Gyökeres today had a very poor game. It was very much welcome to the Premier League. Very, very much welcome to the Premier League. The Lit just physically bullied him and pushed him around and let him know what it's like to play here, and he'll learn from that. You know, the likes of Saka and Martinelli were given absolutely no change in the game. The one player that did have a lot of time and space on the ball was Martin Odegaard. But again, just like last year, some of his final balls weren't really there. Maybe that's why he was the one player that United didn't have pay such close attention to. But the defensive display from Arsenal, I thought, was something brilliant. Lots of room for them to improve. They need to improve. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. But again, I'll see what Arsenal fans are out there saying. Last year, it was, we just need to win more games. It ain't about the performances. I'm pretty sure today is going to be, we won, but the performance wasn't good. Because that's the way football fans are. We're grumpy old fuckers, aren't we? We're grumpy old bastards when it's come to that. There's no doubt about it. But look, congratulations to Arsenal. I hate saying it, but I've got to say it. You walk away with 3 points today. 3 big points at a ground that you very rarely win at. It's literally like 5-6 times in 23, 24 years, something along those lines. Defensively, it was a masterclass. The attack still got to improve, but well done. Do me a favour, please, and hit that like and that share button. Make sure you are all subscribing right now, people. Damn it. I'm pissed. I'm really pissed.